Alrighty, welcome to another episode of the Lockdown Podcast. We have a lot to get to and not a whole lot of time to get to it. So we will just run through as we do. And so Raw kicks off with basically Gunther basically talking about the match and basically, telling us, that it's almost a privilege, but like he's gonna make John tap. Um, and so I mean, it's a lot of people don't like that it was Gunther, and I know we know for a fact that obviously it is John Cena's decision, but I felt like LA Knight needed the boost more than Gunther, considering Gunther was the IC title, a two-time world champion. Like I don't think he needed a bump. I feel like LA Knight needed the bump, but it be what it be. So there's been this whole, I don't know, like downfall for the last umpteen months, between Kairi Sane, Asuka, and Io Sky, and Io Sky befriending Rhea Ripley, and so I feel like these matches really don't make much sense. But Io Sky defeats Kairi Sane. I mean, nothing really too much. I really feel like I'd like to see Io Sky back in the championship picture. Um, but I feel like right now, as it sits, I feel like I don't know if it's who's the women's champion on Raw?
Backcourt.
Uh,
Is because I know I don't know if it's
Stephanie backcourt.
yeah,
yeah,
Stephanie.
Stephanie back here. Yeah, so like on Raw, like I feel like there's a lot of stories that can play out versus SmackDown that has Jade Cargill, who is just kind of bullying your way through matches and not being very entertaining, not being, feeling very relevant being champion.
So
Um,
I do want to interject with Jade. I think it could be something that they're pulling with Jade, just like they've done with Brock Lesnar in the past. So it'll get interesting, but in the short term, we're gonna just this is what we got with Jade. But um, yeah, I think there could be some more developments. I wonder if they're like if Stephanie is working through an injury, so they're using her very sparingly until she works through that injury. But we, yeah, so I think that's what they're doing.
I guess maybe they're just it's a slow build to try to make her seem absolutely dominant and ruthless. I want to start seeing some legit matchups with Jade and not just these like thrown together no build nonsensical matches. Um I feel like it took her a while to get to the top tier, and I feel like we deserve to see what she can truly do, not just put her in little goofball things where, she doesn't really impress me much. Um but so on Raw, so we obviously had the masked person come in at Survivor Series War Games, and I'm getting to feel like there's actually more than one masked person.
Same here
Just
by
because
just by the body shape.
the builds look different, but obviously, like they haven't really done anything with it much. But Rey Mysterio was supposed to have a match, and I was reading up on some theories about the fact that this masked character has actually really not been helping the Vision, but helping Logan Paul. And it makes a lot of sense because you start seeing like at War Games, he thwarted off, CM Punk giving Logan Paul a go to sleep. And so now you're now like what kind of going back and watching the times that he's been, the masked character, male, female, I don't know what it is, but like has been helping out Logan Paul. And I feel like that opens up more possibilities to who it could be. But again, I don't really want to pontificate too much about it because I really want to genuinely be surprised. I mean, because everybody's on this whole this person, that person, this person, that person, and it's like I want to be genuinely surprised. So, however or whenever they decide to give us who this person is, I hope, maybe we get the reveal on the kickoff episode of the season 2 of the launch of Netflix or Raw on Netflix. Maybe we get that response. Um, but I feel like if they drag it out too long, it's going to burn out and become less interesting.
I totally agree.
Hmm.
So I think they need to be timely with who it is. Obviously we have another Saturday Night Main Event, the tail end of January, leading into like a week later being Royal Rumble already. So like I feel like we need to figure this out before Royal Rumble, or maybe we get the masked character at Royal Rumble, and maybe we find out then. I don't know, or maybe somebody unmasks the person, or I don't know. But I feel like they need to be timely with the reveal. Is basically what I'm getting at. Um, and so we had AJ Styles and Dragon Lee defend their titles against the War Raiders, because it seems to be AJ Styles and Dragon Lee are kind of on this similar US Open Challenge type of deal, with the tag titles starting to give more opportunities to pretty much all comers, which I respect a lot, because for the longest time in WWE, I mean for years really, we don't really get too many championship type matches, you know, on Raw or SmackDown. And so like, they've always been privy to having them be at PLEs, or maybe, you know, main event to Raw or SmackDown maybe, but like most of the matches just have always just kind of seemed fillerish to me. So like I like that they're starting to open up, you know, the opportunities and having title matches on Raw or SmackDown, because 20 years ago, even the main, like every title could be defended on Raw or SmackDown. There was no like hierarchy to when they were going to defend it. If they wanted it on a big show or a big anything, it was just defended no matter what title it was. So I like that we're kind of going back to that, at least on Raw. With the tag titles, I know Ilya on SmackDown is basically doing the US Open Challenge. So like, I like that they're at least starting to give us more of that. So um but so man. So when Liv Morgan returned, it seemed like the leader was back. And I think that, like we've talked about for months and months and months about the cracks that are showing in Judgment Day, the lackluster responses or help that JD and Finn give to Dominic Mysterio, Roxanne just basically interjecting herself into the group, when Liv was gone and then kind of joined. And so then Liv comes back, and it's like, I feel like there's a little bit like, I feel like there's something going on with Liv that is kind of not come to the surface yet. Obviously, she was really pissed with Raquel interjecting herself when Stephanie Vaquer was out there and she was, talking about the championship. And then Nikki obviously comes out and thinks she's entitled to another match when you lost already. So get back in line like everybody else. And I like that Raquel took that time in that spot away from Nikki to basically say, "Hey, I'm next." And then obviously when she went back, obviously Liv was, not to be pun intended, but livid.
Hmm.
and thinking that everything was supposed to go through her, because all of a sudden she's back and all of a sudden now, like, she's the boss all of a sudden again. And I feel like for the 6 months, 8 months, whatever she was gone, the hierarchy kind of changed a little bit and there really wasn't a leader.
Nope.
Finn and JD kind of did their tag stuff. Raquel and Roxanne were doing the tag team stuff. And then you have Dominic, who, was really dominating in, his matches and everything else. And he had quite a bit of title matches. And like, it doesn't matter how he won his IC title matches, because like, I mean, there's a history in WWE of people being dirty, right?
Oh,
Your Ric Flair.
You got Ric Flair, who's the dirtiest player of all.
Your Eddie Guerrero's. Like, I mean, and so like he's just tapping into that, truly his name being Dirty Dominic Mysterio. And so like this is the like, and again, this is I've been very opinionated about Dominic Mysterio, but like he's on fire, right? Like I really think that he's hitting his stride right now, and he really doesn't need the Judgment Day.
Oh, he definitely doesn't.
Same with Finn.
And and so like I feel like I feel like he's gonna kind of stay around because of Liv and everything, but like there's just like these little cracks and these little Easter eggs that like lead us to believe that there's going to be some implosion of Judgment Day. And yet, like, and then it's like 2 weeks later, it seems like we're back at square one, and everyone's fine, and everyone's happy, and everyone's jolly, and so like, it's really confusing. But when they do fall, it will be fantastic, right?
Definitely.
So like, however it comes and however it goes, I will thoroughly enjoy, the implosion that is the Judgment Day. So we get a matchup between Roxanne and Lyra Valkyria. Really nothing to say about that. Honestly, it was, pretty cut and dry filler match. And we had and kind of at least the main event of the match wise, we had Logan Paul versus LA Knight. And again, we had the mask character help out Logan Paul by again giving another curb stomp to LA Knight. Obviously ends up putting him back the ring. Logan does his splash, bada bing, bada boom, game over. And so we get the emergence of the rest of the Vision. And I tell you, I really think that these are three guys that Paul Heyman is leeching off of. Bronson Reed does not need Paul Heyman. Logan Paul does not need Paul Heyman. Braun Breaker for damn sure doesn't need Paul Heyman. Braun Breaker has literally the last 2 weeks, he's done legitimately the best promos of the year by anybody.
Definitely.
By anybody. I would by that
his promos has been, you could tell it's been making Logan, Bronson Reed, and Paul Heyman break characters every single time he says certain words. They're breaking character.
Yeah. So let's say he's given 2 of the top 5 best promos of the year. Just so we can give them however they fall. But like the intensity of Braun Breaker is insane, because like he's his dad 100%.
His dad couldn't cut a promo to save his life.
I'm gonna agree with Frederick on that, because his dad could not cut one.
But I'm not saying the promo skill. I'm saying the intensity. Right? Well, because
he's definitely breaking the PG couple times in his promos.
Dude, it's it's he's truly a dog, dude. Like, I mean, his veins are popping. Like it's just everything in it, and it makes it so believable. Like,
Yeah, I
like
mean,
I'm
and
sitting
and
over here
that's
like, damn.
and it goes for his character. Um, so I'm not mad at, or I don't have anything negative to say about his promos the last couple of weeks and the intensity and how they've been coming off and received. What I would need to see is a level of consistency and
Yeah.
building them up over time and knowing how to turn that up and turn that down. Because I think what they're pushing with Braun Breaker is he's always on, and it
yeah,
just for him and for how I respond to him, I need him to like settle into, you know, I need him to settle down a little bit, but when he's ramped up and he's ready to go before a match, that's when I need to see all of this energy from Braun Breaker.
right.
Otherwise, I need to see him like the best way to describe it and keep with this dog analogy is when you see someone that has an exceptionally trained dog, that the dog is playful, quiet, or just a silent observer. But when it's time to go to work, that there's a switch that flips, and that dog is all business. I need that to be with what I would like to see from Braun Breaker. That doesn't mean that's what we're going to get, but I
I
digress.
mean, do you think that it is a smidgen of, you know, Paul Heyman has extended the leash a little bit too far, and you know he needs to be honed in just a little bit?
I think
Um,
I think that could definitely be some character development that we get with a Paul Heyman
yeah,
being the oracle, or the
yeah,
Whatever the
the
hell he
eyes,
goes by.
whatever he's going by, the orca. So I think we can get some of that, but I'm really impressed with the physical transformation that Bronson Reed has been making. He's slimming down. He's becoming more athletic. Um, yeah, I can really impress. And Logan Paul has always been like an exceptional athlete. So for
yeah,
him to come in and to be able to do that, also to, I would like to, I would like to see where this masked person, and what how that plays out. Just like you said, I don't want it to be spoiled by uh, internet wrestling community or by dirt sheets or anything like that. I really would like to see how this story plays out, because it can be anyone. It can be someone, from Logan Paul's camp. It could be um, in someone from NXT. It can be, you know, you know, a
yeah,
returning character, whatever.
There's so many names being tossed around out
there's
there.
just, yeah, I mean, and the thing is like in the fact that people like spend so much time trying to diagnose it, is that like we could have an Americano situation here
Mm,
where we have multiple people portraying this person, because everybody just thinks, oh, because he does the curb stomp with Seth Rollins. No.
No, he's technically out.
How many millions of times have other wrestlers stole other wrestlers' moves? So that's a mute point. And so, I just want to let it play out. But
I'm
so
gonna still
basically,
me personally, if I'm hoping, I'm fingers crossed, I'm kind of hoping it's Austin Theory, because
mhm.
WWE definitely needs to do something with him. He's a good talent.
yeah, I mean, I think it would be wasted to be him, just
Mhm.
because I feel like if they're going to really truly, play this angle, it better be worth the wait. And if it's just another star that was just kind of out, I'm like,
You
like,
know,
cool.
I
You could have just came back in general and been your character and just come out and be
I
have your brutality,
you know what?
and
I
that'd have
True.
been
I
fine.
I like the fact that, one, we don't know, two, we can speculate, but three, I do like the rumor or the thought that it could be Austin Theory, because we've seen that before with WWE, where
Yeah.
they've hidden someone. They did it with the Usos. They did it with the Usos. Jay was like running in, he had a hoodie on, then he attacks Roman,
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah. And they've
most, so it's not I would not mind that it is Austin Theory, because one, we can get Austin Theory away from Grayson Waller, which I thought was dead on arrival when they first started tag teaming. Second of all, it shows the versatility of Austin's character and his athleticism. So yeah,
because
I
I
like
mean
that, but I
it's
don't
it's
need it.
yeah. Yeah.
You
I
know,
mean, and it's the logical answer based on character development of
mhm.
Austin Theory and Logan Paul. And so like it seems logical to be that, but again, I want to be truly surprised.
Right, right.
But
I'm with you.
so at basically the end of the show, obviously, like they go back and show this video of LA Knight getting basically helped out of the arena, and then obviously Logan Paul and Bronson Reed go and continue to beat the crap out of him. And I thought it was really funny, and I mean, if you want to go back and watch it, obviously I know Tim, you probably watched it, but like it's funny. So they basically beat him up, and then all of a sudden they put him LA Knight on top of a car and basically give him the Braun Strowman treatment. And so the funny thing about this segment is the fact that they were playing it like, like when it was Braun Strowman, which is obviously a much larger man, so there was more impact, and they would get the car alarm to go off. And it didn't, right?
Mhm.
And it was funny because it literally just sounded like someone like pushing the lock button. And
Yeah.
it was honestly terrible. And I
Oh, it
and
was.
so and like and it was just really funny because it was so bad. I'm like, if you just left it at that, that's whatever, dude. And honestly, like you can push the alarm button on the freaking on the thing. So if you did, like, it's not that hard to do. Every car has a panic button on the freaking fob. So the fact that they didn't just hit the thing and have the alarm go off, like they, as opposed to going, "Doot-doot-doot, doot-doot-doot, doot-doot-doot," like it was just so terrible. But like, yeah, it was ridiculously funny. But it's those little things that kind of become kind of an
Yeah,
in
and I was
WWE.
watching a whole bunch of other people that I follow on broadcast, and they're like, somebody pushed a car alarm on there. You could easily just tell by the way it sounded.
Hey, your mic is muted.
Farfignugan. But so over to Glorious SmackDown, and I am to the point where like it is obnoxious that every Friday kicks off with Cody Rhodes. Every Friday. It is ridiculously played out, and obviously he's the slick back blonde John Cena of the era. But man, like it is so played out, and he comes out and he, talks for a hot second. Then obviously, Obafemi comes out, and
That
they
dude's a
base
big boy.
and I, man, like seeing Obafemi next to Cody Rhodes, it's just like a brutal difference,
Mhm.
right? Like Obafemi's probably got like probably 3 or 4 inches in height, and but he's a broad boy. He is a big boy,
Oh yeah,
and
pretty
so like
jacked too.
yeah, and so like I because like I've been watching Obafemi, obviously, and everything else since he's been, he was basically the winner of one of the breakout tournaments and a couple other, Iron Survivor Challenge, stuff like that. And so like I've watched this dude for pretty much 3 years, and he's he's got the business figured out in 3 years.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
like more than I would say honestly, like I would say 25% of the full main roster talent is less talented, and Obafemi is probably better than 25% of the roster. And obviously, like, not everybody on the main roster is a main event player. That's what it is. But like, when you have someone that's already honed in the mic skills, the presence, the aura, the brutality, and so like it was just really funny to kind of, I don't think Cody realized how big Obafemi is. I think Obafemi is like 300 plus. I think Cody's like maybe 250, maybe 260, maybe tops. And so like it was a monumental difference. But so we get another United States Open Challenge match. Ilya Dragunov basically taking on Tommaso Ciampa, who basically kind of screwed over Carmelo Hayes the week prior. And man, I tell you what, dude, you know what? Ilya Dragunov is not a big guy. Like,
I can't tell.
you know, you
You're
know,
talking about height or stature? If you're
just like
referring to height,
stature. And
if you're referring to height, I don't think he's very tall. He might be like
No.
a Shawn Michaels type, but
yeah.
stature,
Oh
dude
yeah,
is
no,
thick.
like stature, dude.
He's like solid.
He's basically kind of like Pete Dunne build,
Mhm.
where it's like you're shorter, but he's very stocky and like, and dude, hell of a match, dude. Like, I swear this dude like bleeds on like I don't know what he does. Like his moveset is just apparently brutal because like dude like busted his nose open or whatever it was, and like, and he's like in this match, dude, still going like freaking blood going down his face and everything, and it's
Oh,
just
yeah.
like
He was pretty bloody.
like you do you, man.
Yep.
And so obviously Ilya Dragunov defeats Tommaso Ciampa, and then Johnny Gargano decides to come out and stir the pot up, I guess. And Carmelo Hayes comes out, which I feel like is definitely a weird turn for him because he's kind of portrayed more of that 25% good, 75% bad character.
Mhm.
But I don't mind it. I think this wasn't like a matter of heel or face. I think this was respect. In regards to the respect that Carmelo Hayes does have for Ilya Dragunov. And so I don't think this is like some turn or anything for Carmelo Hayes. I think this is just, he came out, to basically thwart off, DIY, and company just because it's the respect thing. So I definitely like that. So we get another bit between Solo Sikoa and the MFTs in the Wyatt Six, and when's the last time the Wyatt Six defended those titles? I feel like
I can't remember.
exactly. I feel like we're spiraling again with these not defending titles in a decent time manner. And it kind of, I mean, and I get it. The Wyatt Six are more of an attraction than, just regular talent. I get it. But like they're holding the titles, and we can't recall when the last time they defended those.
Right.
And so, this is just another one of those spiraling moments where it's like when, I know we have a lot of titles. I get it. We have 2 men's titles, we have 2 intercontinental, we have 2 US, we got 2 tag teams. I get it. But like you're doing it a disservice, to portray the Wyatt Six as this dominant whatever, but they're not defending the titles. And so like I don't want to just see you in a talking segment. Like and obviously you have Joe Gacy and Dexter Lumis, basically the ones that are defending the titles. but it's like it's kind of becoming kind of boring with them because they, they're just in these talking segments. And if you're going to a show, you want like less talking. You know, it was like it was basically like last week on Raw when I timed everything out and I sent you guys all the time for literally how the night went, and it was very dismal of the actual match time. You had a 2 hour and 20-minute show, and there was 45 50 minutes tops of matches. And that was the match time for what we seen on Netflix, not what they actually did if you were there for the live event. Because those were times for us as the viewers, which are 90% of the viewers, obviously by 95% of the viewers that are sitting at home watching it, and we're only getting 50 minutes of action. And we had, I think it was 40, like it was like 30 or let's see what it was like, maybe like 45 minutes of commercial breaks. And so we basically had the same amount of commercial time as we did actual viewership matchups. And then the rest of the show. So you're saying, so, you're about an hour 20, hour 30 between that. And then, so that means that you had, 40 minutes of just backstage segments, like just random ads for like WrestleMania, or they had, this bit where they were showing Maxine Dupree working out, or and so like it's getting too like chatty within the vignettes and all the different ads they play, like outside of even the commercial breaks. The commercial breaks, it's really a normal thing. But
All right, I looked up the last time they had a title defense.
Mm-hmm.
It was, oh no, it says it. Google says on the 12th, and that was Friday, but that was incorrect. So the last title defense they had was against Street Profits.
That would have been like late summer, early fall.
Or something like that. You're muted, Seth.
I always do that. It's because when I take a drink or I hit my vape, I always mute myself. But no, I mean it's crazy that we have to literally look it up because it's been so long. But
Oh, it was.
might have been the week before.
No,
Survivor Series.
it was October 10th
That's terrible.
because I just YouTubed it.
Like that's 2 months. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Wow.
and like it's and I get it. I feel like the titles have to have some compelling story, but like throw some matches, dude. Who cares?
Yeah,
Have some. I mean,
this is when they were overseas in I think it was, I can't remember the name of the country.
yeah.
I just know it was overseas.
Yeah, I mean, and so it's like you've just basically put these things on a back burner. I mean, the women's tag team has been more active, and they have to
That is true.
and they have to defend it across all three brands.
And plus, the Raw's tag team titles has been almost defended every damn week on Monday.
Yeah.
But it's also AJ
So-
Styles.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
So we have a Lash Legend versus Alexa Bliss match, and
she's a big girl.
she tall.
Mhm.
I had to freaking, by looking at her on TV, she looked. I was talking to my girl. My girl's like, man, she's tall. I said, yeah, she's probably got to be 6'4", 6'5". And I googled her up, and she was like only 6 foot. I'm like, damn, I'm taller than she is.
But that's the thing is, but she's still like for the women's division, that's tall.
Mhm.
But like
That's
I
tall for a
mean,
woman in general.
yeah.
She's up there with she's about, I think, same height as no, she's a couple
Charlotte's
inches taller.
like-
I was
Charlotte's
gonna say she's a couple inches taller than Rhea.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
Charlotte's only like 5'10", I think. 5'9", something like that. I don't know. But yeah, no. I mean, honestly, in the women's division right now, she's one of the taller ones. We'll just put it at that. But man, like, I think she's another one, that has come up from NXT in the last, couple months, and she's definitely coming into her own. I kind of coincide her athleticism to kind of an Alicia Fox, just very long. Um, but then it's like you also have like almost the brutality of like Jacqueline, you know. So like it's you have someone who's tall, but they're like she ain't no slouch. Like she's been a former athlete outside of WWE. So I mean, I believe she played basketball. I believe, but
With
She
Carol,
did. She played basketball.
yeah. So it's good to see former athletes come into the wrestling business, and when you can clearly see that they've put in the work to be there. But yeah, so obviously she gets the win over Alexa Bliss, obviously with a little help of interference with Nia Jax, but I feel like her pairing with Nia Jax
It's a good
is
team.
absolutely beneficial to her.
mm-hmm.
Because I mean, Nia Jax, is stiff as she's been in the ring and very limited move set. But like she's helping Lash Legend kind of unlock that brutal aspect of it. And so, I think, I don't think I know that there's a bright future for Lash Legend. Um, so we had a backstage segment earlier in the show, as we do, and between Javon Evans and The Miz, and so we get a later match between Javon Evans and The Miz, and Javon Evans gets the win over The Miz, which is awesome, for Javon Evans, because like him or lump him, like he has had a long, The Miz has had a long career, and obviously he's wrestled pretty much, all the who's. And so for Javon to get a victory over him is definitely good for his resume. So, and next we basically, again, we just kind of get Jade Cargill coming out. Obviously, Michin trying to get an assault in, and obviously Jade overpowers her and just beats the crap out of her. This is what I mean about like not putting Jade Cargill in some kind of match storylines, give some kind of build to it. And maybe this is the start of it, but like Michin's not that good. And
Oh,
so
Michin is really good. I think it's what they're giving her.
well, the portrayal
Could
of her as she is
right,
on the main roster
yeah,
is not top tier. She's been in the mid card pretty much since the whole time. And so for Jade to overpower a mid carder doesn't do anything for me other than being like, okay, cool, you can smash the small guys. Like that's the epitome of them back in the day bringing in a local talent to get their ass beat by someone. We need a meaningful storyline for Jade Cargill. And
yes,
maybe that
I would agree.
comes, maybe we get something at this next Saturday night's main event, like the third week in July. Maybe we get something to build to that. I hope, because if they don't do anything, we're gonna face another situation where the title doesn't get defended, for a month or 2 months or whatever. Like, I mean, Julia defended her title 3 times in like 6 months and then lost her third match. And so, like, I don't want them to miss Jade Cargill because she's come a long way, and the brutality's up. So like, let's not miss the opportunity to unleash Jade Cargill. So,
Agree.
and so next we get a Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley versus Aleister Black and Zelina Vega, and literally the rumor mill, the YouTubers have all unanimously said the same thing, is that Zelina Vega is a terrible wrestler. And she is better off being a manager, because there was multiple moves in this match that could have very well injured Rhea Ripley, who is, in the upper echelons of the roster right now, and we can't have that. And Zelina Vega doesn't wrestle a ton, and that might be the downfall of it. But like, we can't have another unsafe person on the roster hurting the better talent on the roster. And it wasn't even like it was like an overcomplicated move either. And so, there's a lot of chatter. Basically, everybody's saying, like, go back to the PC, take some time, rehone your skills, maybe come back, get some more matches underneath your belt, kind of, hone in the craft. But
I wonder how much of that is like a regression or just being off for a night. I can understand, you know, both. But she has a husband that has been in the business for 16 plus years.
mhm.
And the first person that would have like jumped in to like, say like, hey, we need to work on this, um, would have been him. And I would say he would have been the second. The first person would have been Zelina, and been like, nope, that wasn't good. That's I'm gonna get roasted for that, and rightfully so. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna work on my craft. I do think she's very professional, and I do think that if given the opportunities, she will improve with that. And also, too, none of the people were hurt. But again, I think
You-
we can be mindful. Just like there's a lot of heat on Nia Jax when she when she can be rough-handed or heavy-handed rather, and she can make a lot of mistakes. Um, I do think that looking back on the match could be pretty rough, and that she will tighten it up. But to just immediately just call for someone to have a career change or whatever have you,
well, and
I,
I'm like,
I
I'm not. I mean,
you
and
know
I think
I'm
it's
not.
the
Yeah.
downfall is because she hasn't been wrestling more often. And I think, like you said, yeah, this is obviously, not something that's happened with her, but it has happened now. So now you have to evaluate, like, do we need to get some more matches? Maybe give her a match on main event, maybe give her
Mhm.
some more match reps
I,
to
you know what?
start to like
And
fix
yeah,
those
and
hiccups.
I'm sure that the machine will evaluate it, and it will be a better outcome. You know, plain and simple, it'll be a better outcome. I'm not worried
Yeah.
about anything with when it comes to Zelina. Um, I think it'll be taken care of. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's circle the wagons. And Saturday night's main event was a glorious flop all around. And so, I mean, I'm talking matches that didn't go that long. There was only one match that surpassed 10 minutes, and that was obviously the main event. And so Cody versus Obafemi, basically, to me, in the whopping roughly 10 minutes that the match was before Drew McIntyre interrupted, the rumor mills are saying, oh, well, they didn't want to, have either of them take an L, to make them look weak.
Yep.
But my problem is that in 10 minutes, they made Obafemi look weak. And I mean, taking Cody cutters and doing and like basically beating up on Obafemi when you see Obafemi on Tuesdays and he like this is legitimately, I view this match Mike Tyson, Jake Paul. This is how I view this matchup, is that they did not let Obafemi be as brutal as he is. He is not the guy that just takes these casual moves that Cody was bringing to the table, multiple Cody cutters. Like, that's not Obafemi's game. And so I watch this guy in NXT, and I watch this guy brutalize people. Okay, brutalize people. And you put him against Cody, and all of a sudden, because Cody is Mr. Main Roster face of the company, blah blah blah, like they in just 10 minutes diminished Obafemi's relevancy, and because it was just bad. I'm sorry, like like, again, I've seen Obafemi against people bigger than Cody. I've seen him people that are same size as Cody. I've seen him in triple threats. I've seen him in all kinds of stuff. And this was
He's a
not
powerhouse.
They did nothing but bury Obafemi for 10 minutes. And then obviously Drew McIntyre, comes out to basically break up the thing, which I thought was stupid. And I get it. Like, the reason why their synopsis is basically that they didn't want either of them to take an L, but they didn't give him any match time. I mean, they gave them like roughly 10 minutes before Drew McIntyre interrupted. Like, they couldn't at least let some of the match go, or maybe like give me a solid 20-minute match and then have the breakup happen. Like, let them both showcase and then let them both look strong, and then have the interruption so it wouldn't diminish either of them. But for like I said, for the 10 minutes, it just made Obafemi look weak. And obviously Cody and Obafemi obviously got their come-ups to Drew McIntyre, after the match and everything. But it's like, it was too little too late for the damage was done. In being Saturday Night Main Event, in having 3 matches, the first 3 matches totaling a total of roughly 25 minutes, obviously with a plethora of ads and commercial breaks and all that in between. But it was just like, you didn't give the match any time to cook. And then you have the Sol Ruca Bailey match that lasted just under 10 minutes and didn't showcase any strong tactics from Bailey hitting a finisher and her kicking out. They didn't let Sol Ruca hit a soul snatcher and get a kick out from Bailey. They didn't do any of that build. And all they
She
did,
did one soul snatcher, and that's about it.
Because she tried the one and it failed.
Oh yeah.
But like, the match ends up in a roll up. Like,
I like the roll up. I like the old 70s and 80s
but we're not there.
Finishes. That's me. However, I think for that it wins because it's such a veteran old school finish, and I don't mind that. I don't mind that. Should it have been Bailey with the roll up to Sol Ruca saying like, "Girl, I can beat you without trying"? Yeah. But for Bailey to take that L, it's probably going along with her storyline. And
and like, I don't mind that Bailey lost. Like, that doesn't bother me. It's just that this was supposed to be a Saturday Main Event showcasing the current and the future, and they were just duds. Like, there wasn't a match, honestly, even including the last, like, I feel like every match was like a B-, C+, like, across the board, because of time, lack of, really showcasing the talent of, the NXT stars specifically. You know, they did the same thing with the AJ Styles and Dragon Lee versus Javon Evans and Leon Slater. I mean, the match lasted like 6.5, 7 minutes. I mean, like that's not showcasing anything, you know,
I think
to the fans that
that's
are trying to get their taste of what NXT is about, to basically kind of give these lackluster matches.
I
I
think
just
that's just the way broadcast television is.
I don't know.
You
With the
know,
AJ Styles match, I thought it was pretty good. I loved it.
match time aside, how did the match make you feel? What did you walk away with? I mean, we can always be critical of the product, but there's also limitations to what we're gonna get, based upon how much time, and if
and I think
WWE would rather sell ad space and ad time versus having long matches, then that's what we're going to get. We're going to get these shorter matches. And, there's not a wrestler that was on that card or in the arena right then and there that wouldn't clamor for a 7-minute match on national television. I'm going to be in a
yeah,
7-minute match. Yeah, put me in that 7-minute match.
yeah,
I'm going to give you a great introduction to who I am and what I can do.
yeah.
You know what, you know, you know, good
Like I'm
on
not saying the
them.
match
Yeah.
was terrible. Well, I'm not saying the match was like terrible or anything. Like
Mhm.
it was a good quickie match, I guess. But like I just wish, they would have at least given it time to breathe a little bit and but again, it was like this was a 2-hour show, and they were saying that they were going to not put much of a limitation on the time of the show, but like what was scattered online was the furthest thing from the truth watching it, because it was as big of a time crunch as anything.
Yeah.
um and
I
like
would I
and
would want to know why everything was so like chopped up. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
why matches were cut. Was it to give John Cena and Gunther more time to tell
I
their
think so.
story? Which
yeah,
seems to
I
be the logical
mean,
reason. The other logical reason would be like, um, shoot, we got to sell ad time. An advertiser wants to sell their product and they want to pay us 2 million for like a
yeah,
15-second ad, 30-second ad. Yeah, all right, matches are going to get cut by 5 minutes. I
yeah,
mean, all right,
yeah, I mean,
that
it's
you
yeah,
know,
I just feel like, I mean, money is great, but if the product is and it reflects because of your corporate greed for commercials and everything else, like, and then you start watering down your product like this stuff wasn't much of a thing 20 years ago,
yeah.
you know
But I mean, the business
and
wasn't the same as it is now 20 years ago.
I
You
mean, it was
know,
better 20 years ago.
I think
Yeah,
for
I
like the
was gonna say
match.
some of the stuff back in the day were a little bit better than it
Yeah, yeah, I mean,
is now.
and I know people are absolutely livid about, obviously, John Cena taking the L to Gunther, which, like, I initially was irritated too, but like,
I had a
in the
feeling he was going to.
in the last moments of the match before he tapped, he had a grin on his face and he tapped. And so if you look at it from just that moment, you can see that it, like, John Cena was okay with taking the L. And obviously fans are pissed and livid. I mean people were letting Triple H
Triple H
have it,
now. Oh yeah.
at the and during, when he came out, they were livid. The crowd was dead silent after the match, like,
Some of the other superstars that were out there were like,
yeah, people were very frustrated, and I think this is, what I think Frederick said a million times over, is that just because what we get we don't like doesn't mean that it was bad, right? Because because you said before, like, sometimes, like, we all want certain things in wrestling, want certain things to happen, and that doesn't always pan out, right? But like it doesn't mean that what we got was terrible, or bad in any way. Like this was how it was set up. It was it was John Cena's. It was all him. And so like if we view it through the lens of John Cena, this is what he wanted, right?
Right.
Like, yes, we all wanted him to be to win his last match and everything else, but like, his goal on the exit was to showcase the future.
Yep.
And I think, yeah,
And on top of it,
yeah.
I mean, this is what I'm gonna say. I think Gunter is the new legend killer because he's beaten Orton for a match. He's beaten Goldberg to retire his ass.
Yeah.
Now he beaten Cena to make him retire. They're legends. Now he's like the new future legend killer.
I mean, he's and I think that he portrays that character very well. He's very stoic. He's very like reserved. He doesn't show a lot of emotion unless he's laughing at something, and so like he's kind of just a perfect bad guy. I mean, like,
it's definitely someone that you enjoy hating on, in-ring talent aside. I mean, like, there's no doubt that he has an exceptional in-ring IQ, and he can perform, he can wrestle, right? And he enjoys this sport, I think Sting's retirement and his run kind of spoiled people. I mean, Sting went out, he didn't lose when he showed up. He, in AEW, he did not lose a match. He went out and retired as a world champion. He was a world tag team champion. Mm-hmm. So I think the treatment in how Sting was pushed is kind of like this measuring stick of like, if you're going to celebrate a working living legend, this is how you do it. And this should be like the upper echelon of how that is treated. I think if we were to, say something about John Cena, his character and even himself, the performer behind the character, is more of a traditionalist in the sense of it's always about the future talent. It's always about leaving it all in the ring. It's generally speaking, you don't go out with a win. That's how it's always done.
I mean, he's legitimately like my entire fandom as a fan of WWE. He's like, that's been the guy, right? He's been the guy. He's been the constant. But he is a very genuine person, and he wanted to leave the company better than what it was than when he got there. And, and he hit that mark, and it sucks for a lot of people, like, for myself personally, I'm sure Tim too as well, is that like he was, he like literally was kind of the first big guy you kind of fell in love with when you're watching professional wrestling, because he was just a freak athlete, but he was also like, he had his funny side, he had a serious side, he embodied never give up.
Yep.
And so like it sucks. It sucks that he's done. And it does, kind of pull on your heartstrings a little bit, him being done, but like he went out on his terms though.
Yeah. And if those were the agreed upon terms, then, who are we to say like, well, you did it wrong or blah, blah, blah. I personally think that however John wanted to go out, and if this was remotely close to what that vision was and what was agreed upon backstage, all right, cool, fine, whatever. Well, now let's see who's next. We got AJ Styles, we got all these other people that could go out.
You got AJ Styles retiring next year. Who's gonna retire him? Gunter?
Yeah.
You know what?
I mean, and
let it
roll. Let it roll.
Yeah.
I mean,
you know what?
And I think that, I think when you're able to finish your career, whatever career that is, and to finish on your own terms, because realistically, like his end game was this Saturday Night Main Event. Everything else in between was kind of just whatever it was, and
Mhm.
but like the end game is that's what all he cared about was the end game, you know, and in putting this group of people in this tournament and to face who he wanted to face, you know, and so it was an encompassing of the year that he wanted to have on the way out and to again leave on his own terms. And you know, yes, I mean fans are going to be pissed in the moment, but at the
Oh,
end
I
of the
was gonna say I
day,
was.
you know, but at the end of the day, you know, this is what John wanted, and this is you know, and
Right when I saw him smile, I'm like, "Yep, he's going to tap."
and like, you know what? And again, like, who are we to judge? You know, John Cena had a extremely long career in the business, and again, he left it better than when he came in. So, but yeah, so we will definitely put a pin in this. Definitely thank you, John Cena, for you know literally since I was a teenager to be the guy. So you know we will leave it at that. This is the Lockdown Podcast. Peace.